And I'm going to explain why at some point during all of this. In verse, this intelligent being said, I am going to, and he had a meeting with himself. He said, let us make a man in our image according to our likeness, and let them have dominion. Dominion means to control. It means to replenish. It means to put back to get out. It means to be an expert at. And he said, let them have dominion over everything. And he named them birds of the air, cattle, all the earth, over every creeping thing that creeps on this earth. This intelligent being is God. I read from this book called the Bible because this book has existed for thousands of years. For thousands of years. You see, there are lots of books I have read. I've read books by authors like Charles Dickens. Even though he bored me to death, I read Shakespeare. I read Nobel laureates like Wole Soyinka. I read books from modern day writers like Chimamanda Adichie. I read thrillers like Robert Ludlum. I have never found a book like this Bible. This Bible exists before all those authors I just named. David Walliams, nothing on him with this book. This book will tell you about your life. This book has survived all sorts of attacks on it. And this book says, the intelligent being named God made this world. This book was preserved by us today. And if you ever go to visit Israel, they'll tell you about somebody called Jesus. And they will tell you he's real. They will tell you he was on that land. They will tell you he's not just a figment of imagination or an excuse for a celebration. He actually existed. The same way Alexander existed. The same way Vladimir, who is currently the president of Russia, exists and is waging war right now. The same way your prime minister, Boris Johnson, lives, breathes, and walks right now. This Jesus lived, breathed, and walked in that country called Israel. They preserved their history in a book. That history is also in the Bible. And I'm going to read from their history, their description of this person, intelligent being, in 1 Chronicles 29, which is the history of kings. They described this king, this God, this intelligent being. And they said, they called him Lord. And they said, yours, O Lord, yours, this God, is the great glory, the victory, and the majesty, for all that is in heaven and in earth is yours. Yours is the kingdom, O Lord, and you are exalted as head over all. That country that still exists today called Israel, that preserved this history in this book that we call the Bible, they say that this intelligent being called God has greatness, power, glory, victory, majesty. That intelligent being called God, they say he has all the earth and all the heavens. When he made man in Genesis 1, if we go back to Genesis 1 and we read verse 31, this intelligent being looked at everything he had created, and he had one word for it, including man. He said, this is very good. He called man very good. He called man very good. You might not feel like your life is very good. Feel that you yourself you're not very good right now. He has called you very good. So if you are feeling the way you are feeling, and what he is saying is different from what you feel, then there's something wrong. There is a disconnect. There is a gap. Still using this book. And I'm thinking, and then there's a record of this country called Israel, and it's written in a book called Jeremiah. And in this book of Jeremiah, this historical account, In chapter 2, Jeremiah writes and says, and I'm reading from verse 5. Let's start from verse 4, from the fourth sentence, or the fourth section in chapter 1. Jeremiah 1 and 4, beg your pardon, not 2, Jeremiah 1. We'll start from 4. Then the word of the Lord came to me in this, and he said, this intelligent being started talking to me. And this is before I formed you